Hello and welcome everybody to another live taping of the Was It Good podcast. We're going to get going in just a second. As soon as Arjuna hits the record button. He hit the record button. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I think I'm going to be sick.
We're trying something a little bit different. I'm going to ad-lib my own intro.
Okay, let's call it what it really is. Krishna, because it's the holidays,
Senioritis.
he's packing on the extra pounds for the winter.
That's actually true. This shirt is really tight.
And he's decided because it's
Look, the buttons are popping
it's
out.
winter, he just wants to do less work. And one of Krishna's responsibilities on the show is to write the intro.
Is that like his only responsibility?
No. I wrote the description and the sub thing.
By the way, Krishna, the subtitle needs to be different from the description.
What?
He's just been copying
What?
since the whole time.
Oh my God.
He's been so
Oh,
Krishna,
no.
I
write
write the description and take the first line and make that the
Oh
sub
my
line.
God.
Come on, Krishna.
I
Come on.
thought it was
SEO, bro.
Oh.
Oh wait, I should probably tweet this out.
I always do SEO on the first line. Of the
Hey,
description.
It needs
retweet
to be
me.
different.
Boob.
Retweet me.
I don't want to retweet you.
I'm
disabled.
I'm Bob.
Some of us are still working. Also, Bengals are beating the Steelers 17-0.
Wow, that much?
Yes.
Who's starting at quarterback for the Bengals?
Okay,
think
here we
it's
go.
Finley.
Are you ready? And 3,
Someone Finley.
2, 1. Welcome to Was It Good? I'm your host, Ravi, and as always, I'm joined by my two brothers, Krishna and Arjuna. We are going to answer the biggest question in 2020. Why the hell would you go and waste your time and watch Tenet? And then we're also going to talk about Attack on Titan. And then we also have some news.
See how much more natural that sounds when he just says what he thinks he needs to say instead of reading it? Oh, man, it's almost like, wow,
it's almost
they're your words.
It's almost like a podcast is a bunch of
Yeah.
people talking
yeah.
and not reading things.
Not
Yeah.
scripting it?
Yeah.
Well, we're just a
Interesting.
bunch of amateurs. It's not like anyone here works in podcasts
Nope.
or anything of that.
Never
nature.
touched a podcast in my life.
I've only ever done VODs.
From podcasts.
It's not like we have done probably
A
we
million.
have done at least collectively over 200 podcast episodes across various podcasts.
Are we not including professional ones?
No, that's all personal.
That's just personal
Mhm.
podcasts.
I know. I mean, the ones that we've actually been in.
Together.
Yes, like actually.
Or like some kind of combination of us.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's,
When the
insane.
human race is over and all that is left for some fucked up reason are our podcasts,
Oh.
I feel very bad for that future.
I feel bad for I was listening to some of our 2018 podcasts because we started this podcast. Was it good in February of 2018?
You know what our first one was?
Yes.
Star Trek fucking Discovery.
For was it good?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or was it good?
Crazy.
Yes. And that's coming up to 3 years. So we'll be celebrating our 3-year anniversary of this podcast pretty soon.
When are you guys going to be doing Discovery for this season? Even though you
Oh
bash
yeah,
it every day?
I've already got Julian signed on to be a guest.
Wow. You should
Arjuna's gonna binge it all in a day and probably cut
you
his
should make it a
eyeballs out.
4-person and get Lumen on there too, because I feel like he has some hot takes.
And then you would produce.
Yeah, why not?
You just have to push the buttons.
Yeah, that sounds fun. But no camera or microphone on me because
Well, that's
then
going to be hard because
then it's 10 people.
Producers seat.
Well, no, we would just have to,
Well,
I'll sit over there.
Well, we would
maybe.
likely have Julian and Michael remote. We'd have to have 2 remotes, depending on.
Oh shoot.
You know what I'm saying?
Anyway,
we'll see.
we're
We'll figure
getting
that
we're
out.
getting ahead of ourselves with the Star Trek Discovery. We're talking, like I said, Attack on Titan and Tenet. I know that the Tenet discussion between the three of us is going to be very heavy and filled with a lot of expletives, whatever.
I think we're going to have more agreement than you think.
No. He's not. I think he agrees with that, but
Yeah.
he's saying there's going to be a lot of bashing going
Yes.
on.
A lot
It's
of
going to be relatively
bashing.
negative.
thought
So
you
let's,
guys really
before we
liked
get into the Tenet, let's get into Attack on Titan. Obviously, we are in the final season of this wonderful anime. We just finished, obviously, episode 3. It was primarily, obviously, a flashback episode. What do you guys think overall about the episode in terms of what we saw, how it was presented, and then obviously kind of the potential reveal at the very end?
Well, so let's start with the end, right? Because we don't have a confirmation of who it was, but if you look at if you're watching us and you look at our thumbnail, or if you're watching our stream and you see our thumbnail in the back here, the man in the middle who has the eye patch and the missing leg is what we assume to be our protagonist, Eren Yeager. And it's kind of exciting because, you know, these first 3 episodes have been very different. We followed a relatively new amount of characters. This episode was very flashback heavy, really focusing on Reiner, actually showing us a lot of events that we'd already seen, sometimes from a different perspective, sometimes with some added context. And it kind of ended, and it kind of came back to present day and went with the current warrior group, right? It was really all about Reiner and his previous warrior group, and we came back to our present within this show, whatever that means. And we were kind of transported to that warrior group and then kind of hitting our mysterious character being Eren. And it feels like to me these first 3 episodes are all about perspective, right? They're really trying to humanize each side, and certainly that's been the fabric and the nature of this show. Is there's this war, there's this conflict, but people aren't necessarily black and white. Even though some characters like Eren has always been like, they're the enemy, I'm going to kill them, die, 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 die. But that's very much not the case, because these characters are all very human and very monstrous because they're Titans.
What I get from the show, 'cause you're right on all those points. What I get from the show, and I can relate this almost directly to Tenet. The show is about the lack of information that our characters are dealing with, on both sides, right? With the Marlians, the Eldians, and then the Eldians living among the Marlians. They have a certain amount of information, and it's very obvious that it's very incomplete, if not downright wrong, right? They're being told these things, they learn these things, they don't know what's right, they don't know their own history. They've been told a lot of things that they take at face value, at least some of the time. So there's a lot of information, and that works in the show because we as viewers come in, we don't know anything about this world, so we learn as our characters learn, and it's nice in a TV format. You know, you learn it nice and slowly. They use liberal use of flashbacks, and in inner thoughts, you can hear the characters thinking. I loved this episode. I thought this was the best episode of season 3 because
four. Yeah, season 4.
I'm sorry, I keep saying 3. Season 4, and the reason that I thought it was the best episode is because we get a little bit more information. We see events that we've seen very early in season 1, and then are referred to, are very important events in season 2 and 3. One of those, the one that sticks out the most, is when Berthold, Reiner, and Annie first arrive on Paradise Island. There's a 4th Eldian with them, Porco, and he is eaten. Right, and that
Marcel, you mean?
Marcel.
Marcel is on Paradise Island with them, and then
Marcel's the one who's
I thought
on.
his name was Porco.
Porco is his brother.
It's his brother,
who
right?
is on
yeah,
Eldian land.
Marcel says in the episode, he talked up Reiner to protect his brother. I think is it Porco? Paco?
Porco. Probably incorrect, but
yeah, we're probably
we are an incorrect podcast, and we strive to be as incorrect as possible.
Yeah. But like we've been told that story from Ymir's perspective. We've been told that story even from I think in flashbacks from Reiner and Berthold, right? But this time we got to see a little bit. We got even more information on it, you know, and we're 4 seasons in this very pivotal moment that happened at the very beginning of Attack on Titan, one of the very first events, right? Whether we see it or not, we get some more information, more context, which I think is very important. We learn a lot more about Annie, and we'll get into that. So I thought it was the best episode because it brought in all this context and backstory.
So speaking real quick on the Annie side, because that was the only thing about the episode.
Yes.
There's 2 scenes, maybe 3 scenes, that felt kind of just thrown in there.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm missing something. So there's one point where there's an old man talking about how there was an attack at his farm, and he ran away, and he left 3 kids about the same age as them. Is it the 3 of them, Reiner,
Berthold and Annie?
Yeah. Are those the ones that he's telling the story to, or is
Yes.
that a memory?
Those
Or of another
So that right there obviously is Reiner's memory for when he's
Right.
on Paradise Island.
Okay.
And the story that he is telling them, it seems to me, is what happened to him. I think a few months ago when Wall Maria was attacked. He's saying that he ended up where he is right now when he's telling them. He left 3 kids about his 3 kids.
Yep.
Were about their age on the farm. He abandoned them and ran away.
And then following that, is it how do you say his name? Bertold. Bertold says, "Hey, I keep remembering that story," and then the guy hangs himself. What's the? I guess what was the point of the show? Is it just to show the guilt that they're all feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's a big part of Reiner's arc, especially early in the show, was the kind of split personality. Right, he had kind of made this persona that really fit in and cared about the people he was around, especially like the fellow like Titan recruits, all that type of stuff.
The line he keeps repeating is they're all monsters.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but then he actually shows genuine care for them.
And also learns that they're not. He's seeing this display of guilt right in front of him.
Absolutely. So this guy is just kind of the human manifestation of that, because Reiner and Bertold and Annie are directly responsible for this man being put in the predicament where he abandoned his children.
Gotcha.
The man doesn't know that, but he obviously feels extreme guilt because he just abandoned them,
his kids,
to save himself.
And then the other scene that, again, I'm not entirely sure what it means, is we're in the sewer part of one of the cities, or the underground part.
Yeah.
Kenny is there. Obviously, Kenny
Ackerman.
He is killed obviously come midpoint or whatever of season 3.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a flashback episode. Who is the girl? The girl claims to be the daughter of Kenny. Any ideas on who that is?
So it's a blonde girl, and it looks like Annie, right? I mean, it looks like Annie put on some glasses and had some moves like Annie would. And the only thing I can think of is, because honestly I don't know who else that would be. Is it Krista? Is it Queen? Is it Queenie Lady?
I mean, I think thematically for the episode, it has to be Annie.
You're right.
And
which raises some important
Well, it
questions.
raises a ton of questions. Yeah. Like,
is she related to the Ackermans?
Well, the other question is, how the hell did she go from Paradise Island, right, being born on Paradise Island, all the way back to the mainland, and then work her way up into the warrior class? For
like how
for
she
the
go
Marlians.
from Paradise Island to the Marlian country back to Paradise Island.
Yeah, that part is
more is
very like that because then
I think we're gonna get some answers.
Yeah, I'm hoping,
because I was surprised. I was surprised how much Annie was featured, because she's obviously like in stasis, in the current timeline.
Yeah.
Or the last time we saw her.
Yeah, so it makes me think that she's coming back in some way, shape, or form. Or maybe she already is back, right? Because as we learned at the end, Aaron is already on the land. We don't know who else is there. Like, it can't just be him.
No.
There, Mikasa must be around. And, and some other characters, maybe Armin and et cetera, et cetera.
Probably all of them, right?
Yeah, you would assume so. Like, it seems like it's some type of invasion, potentially.
I mean, they said at the very end of season 3, right, when they're at the sea, he said, "We're coming," right?
He said, "We're gonna kill them all."
Yeah.
Yeah. He seems a bit more mellowed out.
Yeah,
though,
he seems
since
a little.
He lost his eye and his leg.
Yeah.
Well, I think because remember the other thing though is like, as a person who has Titan powers, they have the ability to regenerate body pieces.
Yep.
So somehow he's figured a way to stop that for whatever reason. Maybe that's to add to his
Aaron.
If it is Aaron.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's.
I mean, it has to be, but we don't know.
We don't know 100% he's missing an eye.
Right.
It's just a bandage. He could be cover.
Yeah.
But it's very clear that he is missing the bottom half of his left leg.
It has to be Aaron for the fact that he tells the kid, right, I hope you never become a Titan because you're a good person,
right?
And I hope you live a long life. Only someone with a Titan power would be qualified to say something like that.
And especially like if
who would even know?
And if he's still like, I'm going to kill them all, he might be happy that this kid's not a Titan, so he doesn't have to kill him.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah. I just want to point out how much of a mindfuck it must be. But seriously, consider this: you're an Eldian, and you've grown up in this Marlian society where you're a lower class citizen, and your whole life has been geared toward training to look good in Marlian society. Now they're going to put you on an island that is filled with the rest of your people. Now you're going to try and spend 4 years thinking of them as the enemy, but also knowing they're your own people, right? Now you're going to go back to your country, realize that everything that they told you about your own people is wrong, but you still need to go integrate back into that. And now you're going to have the very, very same people who are devils, but now you've also humanized in your mind, are going to start infiltrating the society that you were grown up in, right? The mindfuckery that's about to happen to Reiner, poor Reiner, is
let me add one more
going to be legendary.
Now imagine some of them are moving reverse in time.
No, God, no.
Before we get to that that part,
which is a thing.
That is a thing. We'll get to that in just a second. Let's answer that question here. Was Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 3 good?
It was good. And I think we'd be remiss if we didn't bring up actually a comment that we got on YouTube.
Sure.
So I'll probably just read it real quick. So this is from Samuel Edwards on YouTube. Studio Mappa has not deviated in any significant away from the source material. The source material being the manga. The reason that this comment was even made was because we were getting a little worried about how the show lines up with the manga. It seems like there's a lot of manga left to be told. We've been told there are only 16 more episodes left of Attack on Titan. Most of what has been cut from the show were a couple lines, expressions, etc. The main writer for the show has stayed the same as well. This person believed that there were 2 writers, but the second writer was switched out. As of now, the manga is still being written. So while 16 episodes have been announced so far, it is more likely that there will either be another part with more episodes announced later, or Mappa will adapt the last section of the story into a film. Attack on Titan has consistently had to deal with TV content restrictions on gore, so making the last part of the story into film would be a wise move.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah. So regardless, confidence in Mappa after seeing these initial episodes is that they will respect the phenomenal final arcs of the manga.
Especially, like, it doesn't seem like we're going to have a satisfying conclusion in 13 episodes, right?
13 more episodes.
Definitely no.
So I honestly think, depending on what their end game is, right? Is it the two facing off of each other? Is it all the Titans coming together to kill everyone? Like, who knows? No, honestly, what's cool about the show is you can't, unlike some other shows like The Mandalorian, you can't predict how this is going to end, right? There's no clear mapping of like it's going to go X, Y, or Z. Or
excuse me, how dare you?
I really
I'm
hope
not wrong.
Season 3 of Mandalorian, we have no idea what's coming.
I'm just saying Season 2 was very predictable.
Sure.
I would really enjoy it if it ends and there's another wall.
What, in the middle?
No, so the first season was about breaching the walls and then repairing the walls and then finding out that they're on an island, which in itself is another type of wall, and then you're in another place and there are more walls. But then when you go kind of beyond that, there's this big ass wall thing of this enclosed Earth, and then beyond that is aliens, and it's just all a fucking simulation, some crazy
kind of like
shit.
The marble scene from Men in Black.
Yeah,
like when you're in the Earth, instead of a galaxy, instead of a universe, which is actually just a marble being flicked by an alien.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's the only way to end it. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'm gonna also say yes. It was good. It was great.
It was great. It was really
I'm
good.
Say it was fantastic.
And yes or no, Gina?
I think the reason as well we liked it so much is because we saw old school Attack on Titans.
Yeah.
First two episode seasons, like I don't even know if it was like footage from those 2 seasons, but the animation looked great.
It seemed like the animation was slightly redone for the new style.
Love it.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
It worked so well.
Style-wise, it's felt very still Attack on Titan. It doesn't feel like it's just... And I kind of like that they're approaching the story a little bit differently, where it's time jump, and then it's through the perspective of the enemy, essentially.
And the show's a slow down, which is funny, right? You think when you get into the last season of a show, everything's sped up, and you're trying to, Game of Thrones season 8, right? Like, it was a lot going on in each episode, and this is like, it's been slowed down, and we obviously talked about our concerns about it last week. But on the flip side, it's kind of nice. It's your last hoorah with these characters and this place.
In theory, right?
Right. So it's kind of nice that you kind of get that exposition in some ways.
I agree.
Moving into an area that isn't nice, Christopher Nolan, a interesting individual, finally got his film out everywhere. Movie theaters, digital release, ripped off the internet. Actually, speaking of that, I saw a really funny comment about Tenet where it was saying Tenet is so bad. Or it starts out with, I just ripped Tenet. It's so bad it feels like a ripoff.
Wow.
I thought that was pretty funny
Yeah.
because they obviously ripped the movie. But we had the wonderful pleasure of watching the newest Christopher Nolan film just yesterday, actually, on a Sunday.
On a Tuesday.
On a Sunday.
Oh.
What I'd like to try something that we've done and we usually do for Mandalorian and then for films that we actually care about, dedicating an entire pod to. One word impression.
For Tenet?
For Tenet.
Oh. Okay.
One word. You just right on the spot, whatever is the first word that comes to mind. Don't think about it.
Yep.
Just do it when I point at you. Ready? Arjuna. One word impression, Tenet, go.
Time.
Okay. Krishna.
Exposition.
Okay.
Ravi.
Pompous.
Nice. Yeah. We
So,
have
Pompous time exposition.
There we go. Pompous time exposition. Actually,
you
kinda like
pompous
this.
ass.
I don't know where to start on this rage hating.
I think we should just start
Discussion.
from the beginning, Ravi.
No,
We
which
turned the
which part
movie
is
on.
the beginning?
Our beginning, our origin story. It
Oh.
all started in 1980. No, I was kidding. After 40 minutes, we had to pause the movie.
Yep.
And Ravi said, Christopher Nolan is a pompous ass. What in the first 40 minutes made you think that?
So I was talking this a little bit before we started taping the pod, and I've said this to I think both of you and a couple of people, is the problem I have with Tenet. It started early on, maybe around June or July, I think is when the rumors and discussions started picking up, where it looked like the world was not going back to any kind of norm anytime soon, still isn't as of taping this pod. And Christopher Nolan was at the forefront of open up the movie theaters. We need the theaters open. My film Tenet can be the headliner to bring people back to the theater.
Mhm.
And when that started, that's when my dislike for the film started. And I've admitted this, and you guys know this very well. When there's something in a movie or a TV show I don't like, I have a very difficult time separating that bad taste to my actual viewing experience. And I tried very hard during the first part of Tenet to be like, okay, forget Nolan. Let's just go into this. We have, is it John David?
John David Washington.
Major John David Washington. He did great in The Klansman. He's a great actor. I was like, let's just go and enjoy this. This is stuff I love. Time travel, sci-fi. Let's just go in blind and enjoy it, or try to. And I couldn't. I just could not get over. I think the big part is it's just so much information being thrown at you. It is being thrown at you in not a smart way. It's just being thrown at you for the sake of throwing it at you.
To get the information.
To get the information that it brought back up all this taste I have for Nolan and what he's been pushing and doing. And then once that started, it was just a spiral. I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't care. The twist at the end, saw that probably around halfway through the film.
Mhm.
And when that was revealed, it was big whoop. Who gives a fuck?
Right.
Like, cool. The Time War thing. Power Rangers Time Force did a better fucking job, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We're showing time battles and whatever the fuck that was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just why I don't know.
A lot of the movie, I would say, is definitely nonsensical. It's just like, yeah, we're having a war, just because.
So I'm those people who goes back on YouTube to look up what the fuck did this movie mean.
Yeah, of course.
And I actually do think there is a sensical movie in there, but you need a 20-minute YouTube video to make sense of it.
Donnie
Kinda
Darko?
I was just gonna say, just like you need the director's cut to understand Donnie Darko.
Sure.
Except Donnie Darko is still
A great movie.
without it,
Yep.
even if it makes no sense. This movie was just, first of all, from the 20-minute mark to I think the hour and a half mark, it's just kind of boring. It's just John David Washington talking to about 4 people in a row, and each of them sending him on a quest to talk to another person.
A different big name actor who got a
Small part.
a 5
At least-
to 10 minute scene.
At
like
least
the Michael
Mandalorian-
Caine,
Yeah.
Michael Caine in there just for just because
'Cause it's
Nolan
it's
and
'cause
Michael
Christopher
Caine have
Nolan.
worked just because.
It's Christopher
What was the
Nolan, yeah.
point?
But I mean, that's Christopher Nolan, right? Every actor in this movie he's worked with before. Kenneth Branagh he worked with in Dunkirk. The CIA operative he worked with in Insomnia. The boss who wakes him up off the boat and he's like, we reconstructed your face.
Oh,
He's
that's
he's
right.
like the co-lead for an Insomnia with Al Pacino. I'm surprised Al Pacino didn't show up. Michael Caine, same thing. Robert Pattinson has never worked with?
I think this is the first
It's
time.
the first time, but
So.
he'll show up again.
Same thing with John David Washington Jr.
Which, we have talked a lot about negative. I do want to say John David Washington did do a good job. in this
He's the
movie.
only part of the
He's-
film that kept me interested because of how, I mean, and this is no knock at him, but you got Denzel Washington vibes,
Yeah.
and I love Denzel Washington. I think it's
Fantastic.
okay that you get, not exactly Denzel Washington, you get, his son, but he did such an amazing job where that he was the only part that kept me somewhat interested to be like, okay, this is cool. And if I am going to ever go back and watch the film, and this is probably months, maybe years down the road, to be honest,
Sure.
it's because I like him as an actor and I like
Yep.
what he does. Beyond that, I have there's no desire in me to go and watch a YouTube video that explains it.
Mm-hmm.
I have no desire to sit with like nerdy friends and discuss. I just don't care.
I thought he did a great job with probably the worst script Nolan has ever put out for a movie he's made. I thought the dialogue wasn't very good. Like we talked about, obviously we've done Mandalorian recently, right? And I think some of the first episodes I'm like, this dialogue is bad. And some of the dialogue in this movie was bad. You know what I'm saying? It was just exposition dumps. The sound mixing, obviously Nolan has always been criticized for his sound mixing for various reasons. The one movie that he probably got as criticized for was Interstellar, but you can explain that off because it's a movie that takes place in space, and space has weird sound shit. This movie,
Well, it has no sound.
exactly, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's obviously space and there's no sound and whatever. At least I could still follow along with that movie. What I disliked about this movie with the exposition dumps is you needed it and you didn't need it, because at the core of it, when you get to the end of the movie, you're like, okay, it's really simple. Like, good guys stop terrorists, time is involved with it, and they win. Cool. Like, it's honestly a simple movie if you break it down to what it is. But then you just have all of this extra exposition shit in the middle. You know what I'm saying? Which tries to like elevate it and make it more complicated than it necessarily needs to be. And it makes it less fun.
So I'm going to disagree with you guys a little bit. I thought John David Washington was fine, just like everything else in the movie. And the script was bad, and I didn't care about a single character in the movie, not even John David Washington. Here's why. Because we don't learn anything about him.
His name is Protagonist.
His name is Protagonist. We don't know why the hell he's interested in saving the world.
Because he is Tenet.
We don't know. We don't know. There was no. At least movies like Interstellar, Interception, Memento,
Is that a football movie?
Dunkirk, all of other Christopher Nolan's
Name
other
the
movies.
best one. The Prestige.
The Prestige, yeah, absolutely. Even The Prestige. All of these movies have main characters that you feel something for, and you can understand why they're doing what they're doing. John David Washington, as the protagonist, I didn't know why he was doing what he was doing. He wanted to save the world, right?
Well,
But
also the woman.
I mean, what was the personal connection? What that was not.
Do you know why he started this whole thing? Because he was left for dead, given a fake suicide pill, and then somebody said to him, Tenet, and then that set him off on this quest. That was it. That is the literal starting point of his whole thing. Was he took a fake suicide pill, woke up, got some new teeth, and then some jackass said, Tenet.
Well, so I did do a little research into this. So the guy who says Tenet to him is his boss, the CIA boss. And the opera house actually does connect to the plot. It's it's hard to follow along, but what there's the artifact that they have at the opera house is the same ninth piece of the algorithm that Kenneth Branagh's character is going for. So
Right.
it connects back, and I don't know. It's
it's never
Who
presented
knows? Who the fuck
if the
knows?
protagonist knows that, because
He does.
when he's doing that mission to get the
doesn't know
artifact,
shit.
he doesn't know anything. Yeah, and it's
Just like we
never
don't.
made clear.
Yeah.
Like,
Or does he know? Because time.
and what? I'm gonna go read the fucking visual encyclopedia,
Yeah.
play some Star Wars bullshit.
So I mean, the movie has some cool elements. Like I said, though, you have to look them up. Like
Yeah.
the whole thing's a palindrome, which is whatever you spell one way, or flows one way, flows the other way. And there's like,
Does that include the dialogue? So if I put the movie in reverse,
that would be awesome.
I
think
think
part of it.
I believe some of the parts, especially like the
well, yeah, what's
when
on the
they're in the
radio?
tunnels and all
Sure,
that type of
but I mean, like, if I was to take this movie and put it in reverse, am I gonna get another movie? Because if that's the case, I will eat everything I just said and be like, okay, maybe there's like something interesting.
I doubt it.
I kind of doubt it too,
yeah.
but
But here's the thing.
saving
though.
grace.
But here's the thing. I actually, the movie is bad. I was bored. The only thing that held my interest, I think, were the action scenes, which were, top notch.
I don't know, like the one action scene that I remember because I was getting very fidgety, the scene when they break into the truck and they've got the 4 vehicles squishing it.
Yeah.
That felt, it just took way too long. Like, we get what you're
Sure.
doing, just hurry
Hurry it up. You were bored. You were
yeah,
bored.
yeah. The shot I compare it to where he did a good job, which was somewhat similar, was in Dark Knight when they're transporting
Joker.
not Joker, it's when they're transporting Harvey Dent. And Joker
Oh,
goes
right.
and
Yeah.
Joker goes to attack
But
them.
that's way longer.
Yeah, but that one to me felt better and it made more
It felt
sense.
shorter. It felt shorter to him, even though it was longer.
But this entire sequence, they just did it, and that's why I use the word pompous. They just did it because Nolan loves practical effects, and whatever Nolan wants, Nolan gets. Nolan wants to take a fucking
I mean, he's a director.
Boeing gigantic ass plane and throw it through a hangar for the shits and giggles. That's what he gets.
The point of being a director is to get what you want. I mean,
so,
that's just what
so
it
there's
is.
been an interesting people have brought up, and this actually started I think a few weeks ago when Tom Hardy was like, yeah, when I was being Bane, I channeled Christopher Nolan as the villain. Because he's like, yeah, I really saw a lot of Christopher Nolan in Bane. So now people have been going back through all these Christopher Nolan movies and being like, wait a second, is Christopher Nolan just the antagonist in all of his movies? And some people are very convinced that the Kenneth Branagh Russian character is just Christopher Nolan.
Well, I mean, that
In all terms, right? In
Actually
the
makes a lot of
ego,
sense.
in like if I have, especially with the like, if I die, everyone has to die. Like specifically with the movie theater thing.
yeah.
So people are like, oh, it's the same thing.
I mean, Christopher Nolan has been. We even said that's so funny because a few episodes ago, maybe a month or two ago, we even said Christopher Nolan is literally pushing for things that his villains want, like the message of Interstellar, for instance.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We talked
He's
about
pushing for the opposite of that message. He's almost pulling like a Matt Damon.
Does
or
he have
Michael
a
Caine.
Reiner type thing going on where
No, no,
Reiner
no.
has like multiple?
No, Reiner's cool.
He has a Harvey Dent thing. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Christopher Nolan now
living out his movies.
has lived long enough
Where he's
to
become-
become the villain.
He's convinced now that Christopher Nolan, the movie, is going to be his greatest project, and it's happening in real life.
Where one of the big reasons Nolan was pushing for this film to be out in theaters, I believe, and this is put your tinfoil hats on, kids. I believe is he was pushing for it because he knew, once he saw the final cut, he knew that he was going to lose money because of how poor this film is just in general.
I actually don't think so. I think a lot of people like this movie.
It has a 71.
I think the panel here is mostly in the minority in terms of the
Well, we are
the
minorities,
general-
Arjuna.
general consensus. And let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
I think you said it right at the top correctly. Our perception of this movie changed on a dime in the summer
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the pandemic. Before this was the movie all three of us unanimously at this table were very excited to see in 2020.
Yeah.
The trailers were amazing. It was Christopher Nolan. We were excited to see John David Washington. It looked wonky. It looked crazy. And there was just a lot of excitement to it. And obviously, I think that got completely dulled with the pandemic, with kind of what Christopher Nolan did. We've said a lot of like negative things, but I actually didn't hate this movie. I don't think it's a perfect movie or necessarily a very well done movie, and it's certainly below the Nolan standard. But I don't think it's like horse shit. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like a Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
No.
I don't think it's like a
Nothing's that
Star
bad.
Trek Discovery Season 1. If we want to go all the way back to our first episode. Of
Origins.
Origin. And I just kind of, what I honestly wish is, I think the movie's too long. I think 2.5 hours for this type of movie is too long. I wish he kind of simplified the ideas. Like what makes a Christopher Nolan movie so well done is there are complex ideas, right? Memento, Inception, Interstellar, but he had this, you know, in these previous movies, he had this way about him where he was able to simplify them.
He also let the human emotion drive those movies.
Yeah.
Where in this movie, it's just concept driving it.
Yeah.
The whole movie is just the concept of going forward in time and simultaneously moving backwards in time. That was what drove the movie, which is why at least I didn't connect with it emotionally.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I didn't care about any of the main characters. And like you said, Christopher Nolan's at his best when he combines those. And using human emotion to drive it, at the end of the day, simplifies complex things immediately, because let's be honest, humans are simple people. They want one thing. I want to destroy the world. I want to be rich. I want to fuck, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I want to be rich. Did I say that already?
Yes, you did.
Okay, so yeah.
So
I want to solve my long-term memory problems.
do you think you guys would have enjoyed the film more if you had seen it in theaters?
I actually
And what
I do think I
and
would.
what I mean to clarify too is like we would still have the previous knowledge of what he was saying
Yep.
around pandemic. It would be more that, let's say he got his wish and that it was never released digital, they would do like a second re-release in theaters and your first time seeing it. Do you think it would have been more impactful? Because obviously, and I think this is one of those interesting things where we're now, especially in 2021, we are entering the age where we have the option to see a movie in theater or on digital. And I think the most interesting change there is when you go to the movie theater to watch a Nolan or Wonder Woman or whatever, you are in the theater for X amount of time. You can't pause it. You can't get anyone else's opinion on it. You can't tweet. You can't text. While with us yesterday, we stopped, 2 times because of work and stuff, which I think does change the experience
Probably
quite
makes
a bit.
it worse, to be honest.
I mean, it's when you're also like, you know, watching it with, you know, your parents, they keep asking questions, you know. Just kidding. But I think I'm wondering though, like, would the experience been better or about the same in terms of
It would have been
caring about the film?
I would have been better, and here's why. And this is why I hope movie theaters don't go away. When you're in a movie theater,
This is what you're focused on.
it's the only thing you can focus on. You're in a comfortable chair, well, for the most part, right? Assuming you have a good movie theater experience.
Derry, New Hampshire is not comfortable.
Yeah, you're in a dark thing. You only have this giant screen and amazing sound to focus on. Yeah, you might have some food and stuff, but you don't have to worry about, like, for instance, I was sitting on the floor and there's like a little bit of a glare on the screen the whole time. You know, those are little things like that where that probably stopped me from immersing my full consciousness into the movie. Right, like the movie theater experience. No home viewing experience can rival that of a movie theater experience. So, in my opinion, it would have been better. Now,
Well, unless
that
you-
doesn't solve the issues of the movie.
No,
though.
of course not.
I would have enjoyed it more, but that doesn't make it a good movie still.
And like as much as we get on Christopher Nolan about what he did obviously this summer and pushing for the movie, this is a movie that would be exponentially better in the theater.
I think so.
But that's why they should have delayed it till 2021.
Right.
That's another
Just
another
delay
debate.
it.
That's another debate. One thing I do want to bring up that I think we talked about before the podcast was his collaboration with his brother, Jonathan Nolan. Him and Jonathan have worked on a ton of their movies together. Memento, for example, is based off of a short story written by Jonathan Nolan. You know, The Prestige, all the Batman trilogy, Interstellar were all co-written with Jonathan Nolan. This is the third big Nolan blockbuster he's worked on without Jonathan.
Was Dunkirk another one?
Dunkirk,
Yep.
and Inception were the other two.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense because those two. I mean, Inception is definitely, I think, better in terms of the emotion to the concept. Dunkirk definitely, I think, suffers from a little bit lackluster in terms of emotion, and that one, you're running around from was it 3 different perspectives. That one, I mean, Dunkirk's not one of my favorites.
I think Krishna nailed it when he said It's about the process over the characters, because all three of those movies are the big thing is the process. Inception is about
concept, yeah.
right? The concept. Sorry, the concept. Right, going into the dreams. That's the big thing. Now, I did a good job humanizing those characters.
Well, Leo actually. Leo's the only one. Everyone else is like a dream figure.
You know,
There's
Ellen
nothing to
Page is in Inception.
Yes,
I forget that.
Wait,
every
who?
time.
Ellen Page.
Yeah, but she's a perfect example. Outside of Leonardo DiCaprio, everyone else is a cardboard box.
But that might be intentional, because
I
everyone
think
might be a dream.
It might be.
Or
That's
it could be
true.
shitty directing.
Or that's a scapegoat. That's a scapegoat
Tom
for terrible
Tom
writing.
Hardy's also in that
Yeah.
film too.
You've got to dream a little bigger.
Gordon guy.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
That guy.
Michael Caine.
I keep
Oh
trying to
yeah,
call
he
him
is in that. Oh
Gordon
my
Levitt
God,
Hewitt.
I keep forgetting.
Levitt Hewitt. Yeah, that's not his name at all.
And then Dunkirk. Yeah, I think Dunkirk is all about the concept of like the three stories going on at the same time,
Even
told
though
in
they
a different
don't.
time. Yeah,
One's 3 hours, 3 days, 3 minutes.
whatever it is. Yeah,
333.
It's a cool concept.
it's a cool
I
concept.
liked it.
But like Dunkirk is good, but I wouldn't say, and no one's going to be like Dunkirk is the best Nolan movie. In fact, it's probably one of the more forgettable Nolan movies. It's intense.
It's very
honestly
intense.
the best thing about Dunkirk is it's just like an hour and a half, 2 hours of like my heart is pounding and I think I'm gonna have a heart attack the whole time.
The anxiety. It's
Yeah.
basically a panic attack,
Right.
really.
And sorry, it's Elliot Page.
Oh, that's
He
right.
was in
Yes. Now
Inception.
Ellen Page.
Thank you for the reminder.
Okay, I think it's time we ask that big question.
Oof, this one's gonna be tough.
Are you ready?
Oh,
rumors
what-
are circulating
here we
that
go.
there is a sequel.
Wait, Christopher Nolan is doing a sequel?
Potentially, it's rumors right now. There's no nothing from a studio, nothing from
It's-
a producer has said
It's
anything.
mostly
rumors.
perpetuated by John David Washington.
Yeah.
So John has done a lot of media for Tenet, and he feels like the way that the movie ends, specifically with the relationship between his character and Robert Pattinson's character, sets itself up nicely for a sequel to answer some of these lingering questions of, well, why the hell does he care?
Robert Pattinson does say right at the end, right before he goes off to die,
Yep.
you're only halfway through.
No, this is just the beginning of our friendship.
No, and then he says he has another line where he's
Right.
like, "You're only halfway through,"
Yeah.
which actually is a direct line
Yep.
for a sequel.
Which, I mean,
Can a sequel do what Clone Wars did for Episode 2 of Star Wars?
I mean,
Potentially.
I've not seen.
We're talking about a 5-hour movie. Then that means you got to watch 1 and then 2 together, which might be okay.
well,
I don't know.
depending on the how the movie works, right? The metrics of the work. Potentially, they have actually already filmed this movie years ago, and it will be coming to us in the future in reversal.
Oh my god!
Time.
Again, if
Palindrome.
again, I go back to like where I've heard, oh, you need to watch the movie again to appreciate it.
Yeah, you just don't want to.
Well, no, it's not just that. If you can't get me interested in the
first
first
time.
viewing, why am I going to put more? Like, it's not on me. It's on you as a director.
Yeah.
If you have to make a sequel for this to make sense or for me to care,
You
then
messed
you're
up on this one.
You messed up. All you're doing at that point is you're just being greedy.
We talked about it before we started recording the podcast, but a movie like The Prestige,
Perfect.
it's yes. First of all, perfect, but greatly elevated. It's a fantastic first viewing, right? It's a
Yeah.
fantastic movie when you're watching it and you have the twist and
Yeah.
everything. And then on subsequent viewings, it's even stronger because you have this context, you have this info,
And you can look for the clues.
you see the clues, you see the Easter eggs, but it doesn't need a second viewing to still be good.
Right.
A movie that needs a second or third viewing to be good, I think by definition is not a good movie.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true because there are a few movies to me that weren't good the first time, and now I absolutely love them. Step Brothers being, I think, the one that comes to mind immediately. Step Brothers to me. When
You
I
didn't
first
like
saw it,
Step Brothers the first time?
I thought it was dog shit. I left the theater being like, I just spent $15 on this. What? I was like, this is Will Ferrell's worst performance. I was like, the humor is so stupid.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh once. Right now, it's like my most beloved Will Ferrell movie there is.
I think that's because you have to pay money for it, and that's why
I paid money for this.
I have a general rule
That's
of
why
like
you don't like it.
I have a general
That's why I have to watch it again.
I have a general rule of not going to a theater and paying money for comedies because of that problem where comedies to me they can be viewed
At home.
on the small screen.
For sure.
This type of movie, I would have before everything been willing to go and pay X, Y, Z,
Top
whatever.
dollar.
Yeah, I mean, the original plan was to go see it at, I think, AMC, the AMC at Universal City Walk, because they have one of the only IMAX 70 millimeter film.
Yeah.
Like, I was going to pay for that because, I thought it was worth it. But now, obviously, seeing on the small screen, if there's a if there's a vaccine, or if once the vaccine's fully operational and the pandemic is squashed, and let's say they do a re-release, I probably would not bother to go see it.
Yeah, no. But
unless I could go to the theater and talk through the whole thing and ruin the experience for everybody.
I think I would go see it in theaters in 2 years when the theaters, we can find a theater, first of all, if it still exists. And
over under all theaters
if
disappear 2
re-release it
years.
in theaters?
If they still exist. If they re-release it in theaters and movie theaters are still, you're able to go to one and maybe actually afford it. It's not
that would be
$100 a ticket because of inflation.
That would be fascinating if, like, let's say in 2022, the world's, normal, whatever that looks like. And a theater, like, during the summer is like, you know what? The month of June is going to be 2020. Every movie that was supposed to come out in 2020, we're re-releasing.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of fun.
I bet they would make a good amount of money if they, like, re-released a Tenet, a Wonder Woman at 1984.
Yeah.
A Star Wars movie, some of the Marvel movies that would maybe get released in theater but not get the same numbers as they would if it's still pandemic time.
Yeah.
I am going to watch it again because I don't mind having to work for, to get a good experience, right? And if I'm not convinced that the movie is bad, like, maybe there are some things that just went over our heads, and upon subsequent viewings, you're like, wait a second, I didn't see that before. This connects everything together, and that's happened a few times, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are a few movies that are like that, and if anyone, could do that, it's Christopher Nolan. Absolutely, we've seen it in several of his other movies. So I am gonna watch it again,
Mostly because you bought it.
the number one reason being
you spent money.
I spent $19.99, and I got to get my money's worth.
You're right.
I am my father's son.
So Christian,
Yeah.
was Tenet good?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't good. But
In your
I'm
first
not convinced.
first viewing experience.
I'm not convinced that it is absolutely not good. If that makes sense.
We deal in absolutes
it
here.
might be good, but if I have to work for it to get there,
Yeah.
it's worth it because I spent $20 on it.
Yeah, well, there we go then.
Arjuna, was Tenet good? And I like Christopher Nolan. His movies, I mean.
Yeah, we don't like him as a person anymore.
I might. I saw him come out of Blaze
gonna
Pizza
say,
with his
you saw
kids.
him with the
I have a
pizza.
personal connection with him.
You saw him come out of where?
Blaze Pizza in Hollywood. I was just walking
Man's
past.
like a multi-millionaire and he goes to Blaze's Pizza?
That's why he's a multimillionaire.
Wow, he's one of us, clearly.
He's one of the people.
Yeah, clearly.
Wait,
But, go to
Now go to the theater.
go to the
and
theater,
sacrifice
support him
yourself
so he
to watch
can be
this
like
movie.
us.
so he could buy his Blaze Pizza.
Yeah.
Blaze Pizza. Arjuna.
He probably went there because he thought it was the one that LeBron James owns.
He owns the
He
whole
doesn't seem like a
company, doesn't he?
basketball fan to me.
I don't know what
He's
his
a
deal
cricket,
is.
water
with-
polo, and horse racing.
Oh, and human death.
Death machine.
person.
Oh, Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Hunger Games fan.
I heard he's going to direct the new Hunger Games. Also, Christopher Nolan did recently say one of his favorite film franchises is the Fast and Furious franchise. Fun fact.
I haven't seen them, but they look fun.
You've seen Hobbs and Shaw, right?
Yeah, and I heard that was one of the weaker ones, which
That's part of
which,
the whole franchise.
which parts, of course. Arjuna, was Tenet good? Do it.
This is tough.
Do it.
It's tough.
Do it and see what happens.
I wanted to say yes. I felt like I was going to say yes when we started this podcast.
Wow.
Probably one of the better movies I've seen this year, but that's not saying a lot for 2020. Like, it just hasn't been a great year for film.
Right. Understandable.
And I don't think I've seen a lot of the really, truly great films of 2020 either, just because of the state of cinema and not, having the accessibility that you necessarily have. But I think that the central question to me comes back to, if you need a movie, it's a movie that makes you think, right? And for all the negativity we've seen said about Nolan, especially with this movie, it is a movie, at least for me, that made me think afterwards and stayed with me. But if I need multiple viewings to think it's truly good, I can't say on my initial viewing then it is good. Maybe one day it becomes good.
Right.
But as of right now, it is not a good movie.
Yeah.
Ravi, was Tenet bad?
Yes.
You just said it was good.
Wow, we just got
we
Ramsey.
just got him. We just
I
got
tricked
him.
him.
No, it was terrible. Did not like it. I was fidgety and annoyed most of the time viewing it. Like I said at the top, if I have to work that hard to like something, it's
You
not
lazy motherfucker.
It's not worth my time. There's other things I can go enjoy out there. Maybe 2020, the pandemic has really taught me that maybe I don't need to rely solely on American-made content. There is other content out there.
Sure.
Dark did an amazing job wrapping up
You
this
had
year.
You had to work for Dark. There are things that you
Dark-
are willing to work for.
Sure.
It's just that. It's just the. So we're gonna rephrase what you said because it makes it sound like a lazy ass.
I am a lazy ass.
No. You are willing to work
For something that's
for
good.
something if
Right.
you like it, if it's enjoyable.
Yeah,
This-
I don't want to work
fulfilled none of
for something where it's
Where it's
Robert
just bad.
where it's Robert
Yeah.
Pattinson saying, "Hey, I'm the twist," and we kind of made that obvious halfway through the film.
By the way, real quick, what do we think of his acting? Because he is going to be playing Batman.
He did a good
I thought
job.
he did
thought
a
he
great
did a
job.
good
He was convincing. He
Fuck
wasn't the vampire character,
He
so that
wasn't
was good.
Twilight.
Actually, if you see him in anything outside of Twilight,
He's good.
he's actually pretty.
He's actually a good actor.
good.
Good Times.
Twilight's just terrible.
Good. I highly, highly recommend everyone here see Good Times.
Which one is that?
It's directed by the same guy who did someone fill the time real quick. Good Times.
Hello, my name is
uh,
Arjun. I'm here to fill the time.
Yeah, it's 2017. It's a crime thriller, and it was directed by two people, Benny Safdie and Josh Safdie.
Oh yes, the Safdie brothers.
I don't know the Safdie brothers, but he's fantastic in it. The guy who says, "Look at me, I'm the captain now." He's in it.
what,
oh, cool.
Really?
Barkhead Abdi.
All right, we'll check that one
So
out.
definitely highly recommend. His best acting. I haven't seen a whole lot of Robert Pattinson. I can't say I'm a fan, but after seeing Good Times, shout out to Alex, by the way, who made me watch it. You guys don't know him,
Ah, it's
but
an
he's
A20.
great.
It's an A24 movie.
Yeah, A24 movie. Yeah. Seeing him in Good Times and now in this, I think he'll be a really good
Batman?
I think he'll
Nice.
be great.
That's good.
He'll be a little bit different too.
One last thing I want to bring up with specifically Christopher Nolan.
you don't like his haircut?
No, he's been universally praised as like one of the golden directors of our generation.
Don't say
right?
it, Juno.
And he's hit.
He
Many,
is.
right, and he's had many great hits.
Yes.
But is
90% of them.
he now potentially with
No.
Tenet, with Dunkirk, good but not great movies, at least universally considered. Is he starting to see a little bit of the natural downturn?
I
in his
think
career?
what we call that, Arjun, for film directors in Hollywood specifically,
It's
it's
the
called
Spielberg.
No, it's called the M. Night Shyamalan phase.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Spielberg had the same thing happened to Spielberg.
Yes,
Spielberg hasn't
absolutely.
made a good movie since 99? 2000?
I mean, his 90s hits, don't get me wrong, he has a lot of great hits in the 90s.
God, he
but it
could not
really-
miss, just like Will Smith in the 2000s. Couldn't miss.
Well,
and
the
now look at him.
90s, yeah.
Now look at him. Bums. Yeah.
Bumpkins.
Christopher Nolan, you're a bum.
But I mean, look, it happens to everybody in every
course.
industry, right? You have a time where you dominate and then you eventually fall off in some way, shape, or form. Whether you're an athlete, whether you're a pastry chef, it just happens, right?
I think, though, the part of the problem with Christopher Nolan, though, as a human being, and we living in the world we do, where it's very heavily focused on media, the comments that he has made, they're going to live with him and be there for the remainder of his career. So
yeah, but he's Christopher Nolan.
he is basically like this movie, how it came out, how it's being perceived, the pandemic. He is, he's a number of steps backwards now.
Yeah.
And whenever his next film comes out, it is going to be so harshly and looked at with a fine
Let me ask this
microscope or whatever that I can't come up with these fucking phrases.
Fine tooth comb.
question.
Sure.
Let me ask this question though.
Mm-hmm.
To be quite honest, has he actually faced the backlash that he deserves?
No.
Because from us, he has. We've bashed him every time. I don't get the sense that people are hating on him as much as you think they are.
I don't think it's
Which means then the backlash for his next movie isn't going to be there.
it's the film critics.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not seeing it.
It's some of how certain articles are presenting him or portraying him, and then also his comments and everything he's being saying against Warner Brothers.
Okay.
It's a big. He's picking a fight with Hollywood as a whole, which is never a bad thing.
Also, here's the
Changes things up.
And here's the other thing. We've talked about this on this podcast. The film industry is going to be very different. And think
Yeah.
about his movies have become more and more expensive.
Mhm.
They've become bigger budget. These big theatrical pieces that need the theater to get the full experience. And I think if there's one thing people can agree about with Tenet, it would be best seen on a big screen, right?
Yeah.
Does he, if he continues to put out that type of movie that he's now used to he's been making for the last 15 plus years, where it's this big cinema spectacle, he needs to potentially change his style. His style might not fit the times in a year or two.
Go back to making like Memento style films. Yeah. Those are interesting. They are simple to make. They have a very cool and impactful like concept. Those are the types of films that I like. Those are the ones that you leave and you're like, whoa, right? A Tenet is like pompous.
The problem is you only have so many good ideas in your brain, and then you use them all up, and you never see them.
Collaborate with other individuals. Then
why?
Go back and work with your brother.
Nolan. He's a pompous ass.
Well, there we go. Then
you said it. Not
pompous.
Me. Your words.
Pompous. Okay.
Your word.
Speaking about pompous things,
Wait,
our last piece right here. I wouldn't call.
What the hell is this?
This is our Was It News. Jon Faverau, executive producer / creator of Mandalorian, went on Good Morning America, a television show where they say good morning to America.
Synergy.
And then have other people. It's an ABC produced morning talk show thing. Anyway, he was on there this morning and finally kind of gave us some details on the big ending to season 2 of The Mandalorian. Real quick, spoilers. If you haven't seen it yet, stop listening. Here we go. At the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian,
Rey is revealed as Palpatine's granddaughter.
We see Boba Fett and Fennec go into Jabba's palace, shoot Fat Boy Bib in the face. He may not be dead. We don't know. We don't know if it was fatal.
We need his spinoff. We need a Bib Fortuna spinoff.
It was Twilight Jabba the Hutt.
And then Boba Fett takes the throne, and then a title screen pops up that says the Book of Boba Fett, or it says he will return in the Book of Boba Fett
in December 2021.
And then rumors started flying out that this was going to be the season 3, that Pedro Pascal needed a break, that all these other things. But Jon Faverau revealed that no, Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett is actually a spinoff that is going to come out around December 2021. And then afterwards, in 2022, it sounds like, is when you'll get your Mandalorian Season 3. So the series will not be running concurrently.
Thank God.
They will be one, then the other. This also obviously allows for a little bit of a time skip ahead for the Mando and for Grogu.
It gives Pedro a break.
And it gives Pedro a nice break, yeah.
Well, not that much of a break if it's going right after.
No.
I would imagine the next 6 months they'll pick up filming.
Yeah, they haven't, it's not even, it's in pre-production, but it's not in production. While he said, I think on GMA, the Book of Boba Fett is in production right now. So it's going to be, it could be another year. It could not, we might not get the traditional season 3 of Mandalorian
for another year
until December 2022 or fall of 2022.
And it's interesting, speaking, I don't know if pompous is the right word, but it is kind of fascinating to see that obviously the week before at the Disney investor call, they released and announced all the spin-offs under the sun, and obviously we did not see the Book of Boba. And Jon Faverau was talking and saying how Kathleen let them hold that secret so that you could experience and see it in the show, which is great. I think
it's fantastic.
I love when we get actual good, secrets kept from us like this, and then they're revealed. I think that's great. But I'm wondering though, was that actually Kathleen Kennedy being like, yeah, that makes sense, or was that Jon Faverau being like, do it or else?
You know what? If I had to read into it, I bet he's upset that things like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka and some of the other cool reveals of season 2 got basically ruined,
wrecked
over the summer, because there was a ton of information that came out, and I think he even said it in the GMA interview, where it's just that's cool, because think about how much more impactful it would have been if you just turn on episode 5 of season 2 and then you just see Ahsoka and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Versus we all know Rosario Dawson's playing Ahsoka, at least the fans that have been plugged in or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice that they at least got one little secret in there.
The Luke Skywalker surprise too, I think, was another one that
was nice.
That was a nice one.
That was really nice. If only because there were so many casting leaks for this season, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that they kept maybe the most impactful one, at least for some people like me, nerds, or, who are fans of the original, I thought that was great and well done. Props to everyone involved.
As Jon Faverau humorously said, all of these shows take place in The Mandalorian, post Return of the Jedi. which is a movie.
He did say that in the interview, which
Wait,
is
I
great.
don't get it.
He just the way he said it was like,
So
yes,
funny.
we know that it's a movie. I don't know why
he's
you're
just-
telling
he's
us
just
He
that.
was just like, yeah, he's like, The Mandalorian, which takes place post Return of the Jedi. Then there's a pause, and he's like, which is a movie.
It could be for the new fans
Yeah,
that people
I
are
mean-
picking up Star Wars. They may not know what
Or, like,
Return of the
Grogu-
Jedi is.
Grogu fans.
Yeah, like because the
they
beautiful thing
exist?
with it, this is their first exposure to Star Wars, so it's very possible. Yeah, people watching that interview are like, yeah, I don't know what Return of the Jedi is, so could be maybe he had a producer, someone in his ear being like, hey, you gotta say it's a film.
Yeah,
Like we don't want to confuse the audience. They may think it's a
true.
book or a game or whatever.
I mean,
lot
love
of content.
or hate Mandalorian.
Who
They-
hates it?
They have done. I don't hate it.
No,
They
Jim
have
said it
done.
was good.
They have
I
done
loved it.
a good job of creating new fans through the Mandalorian.
That's a good point.
Much better, I would say. I would argue than the sequel trilogy. The sequel
100%.
trilogy, I don't think generated a ton of new fans.
No.
it
made the old fans hate Star Wars.
no, it did a good job of creating a whole bunch of memes. So
Yes.
that's the thing.
No, so and I think we talked a lot about that last season, but I mean that is how TV shows are consumed now. And in fact, I know and it's unfortunate, but every writer's room is going to have a Twitter expert or a memeologist, someone who's like, all right, when they're storyboarding, like, all right, we make sure we got some. Well, I'm on Twitter right now. These look like images that have been trending the last couple of months. We're going to make sure in storyboarding, plan this shot, and this shot. This could be highly good chance to go meme. And we've got an army of interns out there to make it happen after we're done.
Why have shows like The Office and SpongeBob SquarePants persevered? Memes.
GIFs.
Is SpongeBob still going?
SpongeBob is still going, but there's actually a fascinating article. I forget which website has it that talks about the idea and the around SpongeBob and how all the memes are just from the first 3 seasons, and like universally the first 3 seasons are considered like extremely well done, and then everything after that is just kind of considered shit. Fascinating read, fascinating study of the show and how it all changed when Steven Hillenburg, the creator, just departed from the creative standpoint. It didn't really have that smartness to it anymore, where it was just this balance of adult humor and kid humor, and it just all became kid humor.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty cool. By the way, we need to copyright that memeologist.
Memeologist? I don't think that's
I think
Oh, it'll
that's-
be a thing.
I think that's already a word.
No, it can't be.
Yes, it's a type of scientist that he
Studies
takes
memes?
he prints them out on paper,
It's like anthropology.
puts them in a cauldron, pours some hot water on, and makes a concoction called meme soup.
Meme soup.
Meme soup. There we go. And I think that's going to wrap it for us, guys. Real quick before we end the show, want to give a shout out to the ConCon's Cantina podcast.
Yeah.
They were the winner of one of our giveaways, and they actually hooked us up with some really awesome stickers. Just kidding. But yeah, definitely give them a listen. I believe they're on every single major podcast platforms such as Spotify, iTunes, etc. So definitely give them a listen. And as always, you can find us on Twitter at Was It Good, on Instagram at Was It Good BTM. The podcast is recorded live on Monday and Fridays for you to jump in and yell at us. You can find that on twitch.tv/wasitgood.
You should also find us on YouTube. If we are trying to get to 100 subscribers, so we can have a unique URL, youtube.com/wasitgood.
Yes, because then I can add that
Yes.
and not, youtube.com/ZYK24345596.
That's surprisingly very close to what it actually is.
I think I memorized the first 3 or what, yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you not this Friday, but this Saturday. We are going to be doing a Wonder Woman pod, so tune in. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, Chris is leaving us. Did you cut the stream?
No, the stream's still going.
Oh, the cake's ready, so that's my dinner.
Yeah.
I'm eating cake for dinner, guys. I'm not actually having food.
I'm getting called for.
Real quick, do we want to go off the live?
Mhm.
Yes. We're still live.
Or do we announce the contest?
Oh yeah, let's announce the
Oh,
contest.
real quick, check out Was It Good on Twitter and Was It Good BTM on Instagram for your chance to win this awesome Funko Pop of The Mandalorian with the child. This beautiful box, number 390. We will announce the winner on Saturday's live taping of the pod on twitch.tv/wasitgood.
Bye.
Peace.